Welcome to Auntie Rose Narrates. Before today's story of betrayal and self-discovery, please subscribe and hit like to help these stories be heard. Drop your city or country in the comments. It always warms my heart. Now let's begin. When the bank called me, I was standing in my kitchen, drying a single plate that was already clean. It was late afternoon. The house was quiet in that way it gets when life has moved on without you noticing. The woman on the phone spoke politely, calm, professional. She said my name first. Just to be sure it was really me, Dot, then she said something I still hear in my sleep. Ma'am, your husband is here at the downtown branch. He's with a woman who looks exactly like you. I laughed at first. Not because it was funny, but because my mind refused to accept it. My husband, Robert, was supposed to be on a business trip in Chicago. He had left 2 days earlier with a suitcase, a kiss on my forehead, and that tired smile he always wore when he didn't want to explain things. I remember asking the woman on the phone to repeat herself. She did, slowly, carefully, and when she finished speaking, my hand slipped and the plate shattered on the kitchen floor. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just stood there, staring at the broken pieces, wondering how a life could crack so quietly. My name is Margaret Collins. I am 62 years old, and until that phone call, I believed I knew the man I had been married to for 40 years. I met Robert when I was 21. He was gentle, soft-spoken, the kind of man who listened more than he talked. We built our life slowly. A small home in Ohio, 2 children, Daniel and Emily, dinner at the same table every night. Even when money was tight, Robert worked in finance. Long hours, clean suits, quiet stress he never brought home. I stayed home when the children were small. I packed lunches. I folded clothes. I waited. And when the kids grew up, I found part-time work at the local library. I liked the quiet, the smell of old pages, the feeling that stories stayed even when people change. Robert and I never fought loudly. We disagreed softly. We learned to let silence do the arguing for us. Looking back, I wonder if that was where we went wrong. The last few years had been distant, not cold, just quiet. Robert traveled more. He smiled less. Sometimes he looked at me like I reminded him of something he'd forgotten. Still, I trusted him. After 40 years, trust feels automatic, like breathing. That morning, before the bank called, I had been planning dinner. Chicken soup, his favorite. I was going to freeze some for when he came back from Chicago. I even texted him earlier, travel safe. Call me tonight. No reply. I told myself he was busy. I always told myself that. After the call, I sat at the kitchen table for a long time. The clock ticked loudly, as if it wanted answers too. I didn't call Robert. I didn't drive to the bank. Instead, I opened the drawer where we kept important papers, insurance, tax forms, old letters. That's when I noticed something missing. Our joint savings folder. My heart didn't race. It sank. Slowly. Like it already knew where this was going. Remembered something Robert had said a few weeks earlier. If anything ever happened to me, he had told me. Not looking up from his coffee, you'd be okay, right? I laughed then. I wasn't laughing now. That night, the house felt larger, colder. I slept on my side of the bed, staring at the door, listening for a sound that never came. At 2:13 a.m., my phone buzzed, a message from Robert. Flight delayed. Will explain soon. I read it 3 times. Then I turned the phone face down and whispered something I had never said out loud before. I don't know who you are anymore. And as I lay there in the dark, one question kept repeating in my mind. If that woman at the bank looked just like me, then who had my husband really been living with all these years? The morning after the bank call, I woke up before the sun. The house was still dark, and for a moment, I forgot everything. Then I saw the empty space beside me in bed, and it all came rushing back. I made coffee even though I didn't want it. Habit is a powerful thing. I poured 2 cups before realizing only one of us was there. I sat at the kitchen table and wrapped my hands around the mug, letting the warmth calm me. Outside, the sky was gray. Rain pressed gently against the window, like it didn't want to disturb me. That was when I decided to call my son. Daniel is my oldest. He's 38, practical, serious. He sounds like his father when he talks, especially when he's tired. "Mom?" he said when he answered. "Is everything okay?" I hesitated. I didn't want to pull him into something I didn't yet understand. "I just wanted to hear your voice," I said. There was a pause. Then softly, "Did Dad leave again?" I closed my eyes. "Yes," I said. "He's on a trip." Another pause. "Mom," Daniel said carefully. "He travels a lot more than he used to." "I know," I replied. What I didn't say was that I knew more than I wanted to. Later that day, my daughter Emily came by. She always notices when something is wrong. She hugged me longer than usual, her arms tight around my shoulders. "You look tired," she said. "I didn't sleep well." She helped me clean the broken plate pieces I had left on the counter overnight. Neither of us mentioned them. Emily is different from Daniel. She's gentle, thoughtful, always searching faces for hidden feelings. "Did Dad call?" she asked. I shook my head. She nodded, like that answer fit something she already suspected. That afternoon, I found myself wandering through the house. Not cleaning, not organizing. Just remembering. The living room, where Robert used to read the paper every Sunday morning. The hallway where the kids once measured their height against the wall. The kitchen where I had cooked thousands of meals, always believing love was built through care. I stopped in front of our wedding photo. Robert looked so young, so sure. I touched the glass and whispered, "When did we stop talking?" Over the years, there had been signs. Small ones, easy to ignore. Robert started keeping his phone face down. He took calls outside. He began dressing better for work trips than he did for dinner with me. Once, I asked him about it, just trying to feel professional. He said with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Another time, I found a receipt for a women's coat in his jacket pocket. It wasn't my size. He told me it was for a client's wife. I believed him. Belief was easier than doubt. That evening, Daniel called again. "Mom," he said, "can I ask you something?" "Of course." "Has Dad been unhappy?" I thought about that. "I don't know," I said honestly. "He never said he was?" Daniel sighed. "He barely talks when I call him. It's like he's somewhere else." I stared at the wall. "Sometimes people leave before they leave," I said quietly. Daniel didn't answer. 2 days passed without hearing from Robert. No calls, no messages. On the 3rd day, I went to the bank. I didn't tell anyone. I just drove there, my hands steady on the wheel, my heart beating slow and heavy. The same woman from the phone call met me in her office. Her name was Linda. She looked uncomfortable, like she wished she were anywhere else. "I'm sorry," she said. "We probably shouldn't have called you, but you did," I said. "And now I'm here." She nodded. Double quotes. "He came in with a woman," she said carefully. "She looked very much like you. Same hair, same glasses." My throat tightened. "They were opening a joint account," she continued. "He referred to her as his wife." I didn't react. I just listened. Linda slid a document across the desk. A signature, Robert's, beside it. Another name. Margaret Collins. Not mine, but close enough to her. I drove home in silence. At a red light, I finally cried. Not loud. Just quiet tears that blurred the road ahead. When I got home, Emily was waiting on the porch. "I had a feeling," she said. I sat beside her and told her everything. She didn't interrupt. She just listened. When I finished, she rested her head on my shoulder. "You didn't deserve this," she whispered. I shook my head. "No one ever does." That night, Robert called Dot. His voice sounded calm. "Too calm, Margaret," he said, like everything was normal. "Where are you?" I asked Dot. There was a pause. "I'll explain soon." "No," I said softly. "Explain now." Another pause. "I didn't mean for you to find out like this." Those words settled deep inside me. "So there is something." I said, "Yes." I waited. "She reminds me of who I used to be," he said. "Who we used to be?" I closed my eyes. "And what am I now?" I asked Dot. Silence. Dot. That silence was my answer. After the call, I sat alone in the dark living room. The rain had stopped, but the house felt colder than ever. I realized something then. The man I loved wasn't gone because he found someone else. He was gone because he had already left himself behind. And as I sat there, staring at the front door, one thought echoed in my mind. If Robert had created a new life without me, what else had he taken with him when he walked away? The morning after Robert's call, I woke up with a strange calm. Not peace, just the kind of quiet that comes when your mind is too tired to fight anymore. Sat at the edge of the bed and looked around the room. Everything was exactly where it had always been. The dresser, the lamp, the framed photo of our children on graduation day. Yet something felt missing. Not Robert. Trust. I realized then that trust doesn't break loudly. It wears down. One excuse at a time, I decided to stop waiting for answers and start looking for them. Went to the study where Robert kept his old files. He used to joke that no one could understand his system. I opened the drawers slowly, like I was afraid the truth might jump out. There were folders labeled work, taxes, investments. I had seen them before, but I had never opened them. I opened them now. The first few looked normal. Then I found something new, a thin folder tucked behind the others. Inside were copies of emails, hotel bookings, rental agreements, all under a different address, a small apartment in another city. I sat on the floor and leaned against the desk. The apartment wasn't temporary. It was furnished, paid for monthly. The dates went back 3 years. 3 years. I pressed my hand to my mouth. All those weekends he said he had conferences. All those last-minute meetings. He wasn't just visiting someone. He was living another life. Later that day, Daniel came over. He noticed the papers spread across the table immediately. "Mom," he said slowly, "what is this?" I handed him the folder. He read quietly. His jaw tightened. "This has been going on for years," he said. I nodded. "I thought your father was tired," I said. "I didn't know he was." Elsewhere, Daniel pushed the papers away. "He let you believe you were the problem," he said. I hadn't realized that was true until he said it out loud that evening. Emily joined us. She sat between us, holding my hand. "Dad called me," she said quietly. I looked at her. "He said he didn't want me to hear things from anyone else," she continued. "He said he was confused," Daniel scoffed softly. "Confused doesn't last 3 years," he said. Emily didn't argue. She just looked sad. The next week felt heavy. I moved through my days like someone else was in control of my body. I went to the grocery store. I watered the plants. I folded laundry that no longer smelled like Robert. Every night, I lay awake thinking about the woman who looked like me. Did she cook the same meals? Did she laugh the same way? Was she pretending to be me? Or had Robert turned her into someone new? One afternoon, I received a letter in the mail. No return. Address. Inside was a printed photograph. Robert, the woman, standing outside a restaurant. His arm around her waist. They looked comfortable. Familiar. On the back, written in neat handwriting. "You deserve the truth." My hands shook. I didn't know who sent it. but I knew the truth was no longer something I could avoid. I called Robert that night. I know about the apartment. I said. He didn't deny it. I was going to tell you. He said. When? I asked. When I have the courage. I laughed softly. You had the courage to leave, I said. Just not to explain. He sighed. I didn't want to hurt you. That didn't stop you. I replied. He told me her name was Laura. He said she reminded him of me when we were younger. I felt something break, then not anger, something quieter, grief. You didn't fall in love with her, I said. You fell in love with a memory. There was a long silence. I don't know who I am anymore, he admitted. Neither did I. The next morning, the bank called again. This time, it was different. They needed clarification. On several accounts I had never seen, money had been moved quietly, carefully. My name was still on some of them. Others had been changed. I felt sick. I called Daniel. He's been rearranging things. I said. Daniel didn't hesitate. We need a lawyer. That word made everything real. When I told Emily, she cried. Not for the money, for the man she thought her father was. He used to carry me on his shoulders, she whispered. He used to read me stories. I held her. He still did those things, I said. He just stopped being honest afterward. A few days later, Robert came home. He didn't knock. He stood in the doorway like a guest. I needed some things. He said. I watched him walk through the house. He touched nothing, like he was afraid the walls might remember. Sat at the kitchen table. The same one, where we had planned our children's futures. I'm not asking you to understand, he said. I'm asking you to respect me. I replied. He looked down. I never meant to replace you. But you did, I said, before he left. He turned to me. She's not you, he said. She never was. I didn't answer, because what I wanted to say was this: you weren't you either. And as the door closed behind him, I realized something terrifying and true. The man who raised my children was a stranger now. And the hardest part was knowing he might never come back. The day everything finally fell apart did not begin with shouting. It began with silence. I woke up early again, the way I had been waking up for weeks now. The light outside was pale, almost gentle, like it didn't know what it was shining on. I lay there for a while, listening to the house breathe, the soft hum of the refrigerator, the tick of the clock in the hallway. This house had held our entire life, and now it felt like it was holding its breath. I made breakfast for one out of habit. 1 egg, 1 piece of toast. I sat at the table and stared at the empty chair across from me. For years, I had adjusted myself to Robert's absences. I learned not to ask questions, not to complain, not to expect. I told myself that love meant patience. That morning, I understood that love without truth slowly becomes loneliness. At 9 o'clock, Daniel arrived. He brought coffee in a folder tucked under his arm. I spoke to a lawyer. He said gently. I nodded. We sat together at the table. He opened the folder and began explaining things in a calm, careful voice. Accounts, assets, shared property. Words that sounded cold and heavy. Mom, he said, some of this money is gone. I didn't react right away. How much? I asked. He told me. I closed my eyes. It wasn't just money. It was years of careful saving. Vacations we never took. Plans we postponed. All of it quietly redirected into a life I didn't know existed. Emily came later that afternoon. She had been crying before she arrived. I could see it in her eyes. Dad texted me, she said. He wants to explain everything. I felt tired. I've heard enough explanations, I said softly. Emily sat beside me. I don't think he knows how much damage he's done, she whispered. I think he knows, I replied. I just don't think he wants to feel it. 2 days later, Robert asked to meet, neutral ground. He said, a quiet cafe near the river. I agreed. Not because I wanted closure, but because I wanted clarity. He was already there when I arrived. He looked older, smaller. For a moment, I felt something familiar. Then it passed. We sat across from each other. I never planned for it to go this far. He said. I stirred my tea. You planned enough, I replied. He looked down at his hands. I felt invisible, he said. I felt like I disappeared in my own life. I looked at him. Any thought disappearing from mine would fix that? He didn't answer. He told me things then. How he met Laura at a conference. How she listened. How she didn't know him as a husband or father. She didn't expect anything from me. He said. I felt a quiet ache. I expected honesty. I said. He nodded slowly. I was afraid, he admitted. Of what? Of hurting you. I smiled sadly. You were afraid of facing me, I said. Not of hurting me. When we talked about the money, his voice changed. I didn't think you'd ever need it, he said. That sentence stayed with me, not because it was cruel, but because it revealed how small he thought my world was that night. I couldn't sleep. I walked through the house, touching walls, picture frames, door handles. In the guest room closet, I found something I hadn't noticed before. A small box. Inside were old letters. Letters I had written to Robert years ago. Notes tucked into lunches. Cards for anniversaries. Messages I thought had been thrown away. I sat on the floor and read them. Every word was full of love, hope, faith. Realized then that I had never stopped showing up. He just stopped seeing me. The legal process moved. Slowly, paperwork, meetings, quiet conversations that carried heavy meaning. Robert didn't fight. He agreed to everything, not out of kindness, out of guilt, but guilt does not rebuild trust. One afternoon, Emily came to me holding a letter. I think this is from her, she said. Laura. I hadn't heard her name spoken in weeks. The letter was simple. She wrote that she didn't know he was still married when they met, that she left when she found out the truth. I'm sorry, the letter ended. I never wanted to hurt you. I believed her, which somehow made everything worse. A few days later, Robert came by the house one last time. He stood in the doorway again. I'm moving, he said. Out of state. I nodded. Take care of yourself, I said. He looked at me, really looked at me. For the first time in years, you were always stronger than me, he said. I didn't respond because strength was not something I wanted anymore. I wanted peace. After he left, I sat alone in the living room. The sun was setting, casting long shadows across the floor. I felt empty. Not broken, just finished. In that quiet moment, a thought settled into my heart. Sometimes love doesn't end in anger or hate. Sometimes it ends in understanding that you can no longer carry someone who refuses to walk beside you. But as calm as that realization felt, one question still lingered, now that the truth was finally out. Who was I going to be without the life I had built around him? The first morning after Robert left for good, I woke up to sunlight instead of dread. It surprised me. For weeks, my eyes had opened with heaviness, as if the night had pressed its weight onto my chest. But that morning felt different. Not happy, just quiet. I lay still for a long time, listening. No suitcase rolling down the hallway. No muffled phone calls. No tension hiding in the corners of the room. Just me. And my breath. I didn't rush to get up. For once, there was nowhere I needed to be for anyone else. Eventually, I made my way to the kitchen. I opened the window above the sink and let the cool air come in. It smelled like early fall, like change. I brewed coffee and poured 1 cup. Only 1. And for the first time in years, that didn't feel sad. The days that followed were slow. Gentle. Daniel checked on me often. not with worry, but with respect. Call if you need anything, he said. Not because he thought I couldn't handle things, but because he wanted me to know I wasn't alone. Emily came by on Sundays. We cooked together. We talked about ordinary things. Sometimes we talked about Robert. Sometimes we didn't. Both felt okay. One afternoon, I went into the guest room and began sorting through old boxes. Things I had packed away years ago. Photo albums, cards, little pieces of life I thought was finished. I found a picture of myself from my early 30s. I was standing in the backyard, holding Daniel as a baby. I looked tired, but strong. I studied that woman for a long time. I realized something, then she was still here. I began walking in the mornings, just around the neighborhood at first. I noticed things I had ignored for years. Gardens, wind chimes, neighbors waving from their porches. One woman stopped me one day. "I see you walking every morning," she said with a smile. "It's nice to see." I smiled back. It felt good to be seen again. A month passed, then another. The house began to feel less like a place that had lost something, and more like a place that was making room. I moved furniture, painted a wall, gave away things I no longer needed, not out of anger, out of release. One evening, Emily asked me something unexpected. "Mom," she said carefully, "are you okay?" I thought about it. Not the kind of okay that pretends, but the kind that tells the truth. "I'm learning," I said. She smiled and hugged me. "I think that's better than okay," she whispered. I did eventually go back to the bank. Not to argue, not to explain, just to close accounts and open new ones in my own name. The woman who helped me smiled kindly. "You're starting fresh," she said. I nodded. Double quotes, "Yes," I replied. "I am." Some nights, memories still came. Quiet ones, Robert laughing at the dinner table. Family vacations, moments that were real. Even if the ending wasn't, I let myself remember them. I didn't push them away, didn't hold on to them either. I let them pass through me, like waves. One afternoon, a letter arrived from Robert. I stared at it for a long time before opening it. He wrote about regret, about loneliness, about wishing he had been braver in the right ways. At the end, he wrote, "I hope you find happiness again." I folded the letter and placed it in a drawer, not because I needed to keep it, but because I didn't need to respond. Some chapters don't require a reply. They only require acceptance. As winter turned into spring, I found myself laughing more. Not loudly, but freely. I joined a small reading group at the library. I planted flowers in the backyard. I even caught myself making plans. Small ones, trips, classes, days that belonged only to me. One evening, I sat on the porch as the sun set. The sky was soft pink and gold. The air was calm. I thought about the woman I had been, the wife who waited, the mother who held everything together, the person who believed love meant endurance. And then I thought about the woman I was becoming, someone who understood that love should not require disappearing. I don't hate Robert. Don't love him either. What I feel now is something quieter. Understanding. He was lost. And in trying to find himself, he forgot to protect the people who loved him. That truth used to hurt. Now, it simply is. If there is a lesson in my story, it is not about betrayal or marriage or even forgiveness. It is about remembering yourself, about noticing when silence becomes too heavy, about understanding that loyalty should never cost you your sense of worth. It is about knowing that starting over does not mean starting empty. It means starting honest. Sometimes, late at night, I sit by the window and think about that phone call from the bank, how one sentence changed everything. And I realize now, it didn't end my life. It woke it up. My name is Margaret Collins. I am 62 years old. I love deeply. I trusted fully. And I survived quietly. And now, for the first time in a very long while, I am living for myself.